Hello YouTube, Triumph Guy here, and we're going to be doing a full service on this Elddis Autoquest or Peugeot Boxer 2.2 HDi. A couple of steps are optional and I'll put them in, and what we're going to do is we're going to do it in order. So fuel filter, air filter, there's a reason behind that. A, you don't want oily hands all over both them filters, but B, you have to remove the air filter to get to the fuel filter on this. Then we're going to do the oil filter. Note, if your vehicle is non-AC like this, there is no cabin filter, but I'll show you the location of where the cabin filter is. And that this doesn't also include the habitation service. At the end of the video, I'm then just going to go over a few more service and checks that you can do at home without any professional help. So let's get to it. So annoyingly, Peugeot, being Peugeot, they've put the fuel filter behind this air filter there. Can you see that little orange tag? That is exactly where the top of the fuel filter housing is. So we've got to remove this. And also, which is annoying with Peugeot, is they've used these clips. So I'm going to see if I can take the top of the air filter out first and see if we can access it that way. All you're going to do for that is 1, 2, 3, and there's a 4th in there as well. Little Phillips screws. Yeah, let's just come off. As you can see, this one hasn't been changed for a very long time, so we're just going to remove that, and it just pulls out its housing like that. We may as well replace this filter while we're here as well. Give that a little hoover out. Now that should give us a tiny bit more access to the fuel filter. So what we don't want is fuel going in here. Now we could go further and remove the rest of it, but I'm not too sure we're going to need to. So the next stage, you're just going to sort of want to prep yourself. And as you can see, I'm a bit of a supermarket whore. Lidl, Sainsbury's and Waitrose. We don't shop there very often, by the way. So we've got 3. One we're going to put over this to cover that. And then also one we're going to put down there, because as soon as you take these fuel lines off, it's going to start leaking fuel. Also, what you want to do is have something underneath so it doesn't ruin your driveway. After that, I'm just going to show you how to disconnect these lines. So we're going to undo the electrical connectors. There's one at the top, one at the bottom. You're going to need a pick. What you're going to do is get under there, pull it up, and it should. Now you've probably seen then that this actually slotted out the mount. I didn't actually want it to do that, but the mount's just there and it clips into them 2 bits. Well, what I'll do is I'll show you it once it goes out of the way. There you go, in fact, yeah, you can see it there. So it just sort of pulls up and out. This actually sort of gives us now a bit more access to the one at the bottom, because we can now maneuver this filter to get the bottom one out. Now to get the bottom connector out, all you're going to do is push in on that metal tab whilst we're drawing on the connector itself. With the grey collar, a couple of wiggles just to sort of free it up a little bit, pull on the line and then push the connector backwards, and it should come out like so. Not too much fuel is spilled, and you've got to do it 3 times. So it said push the grey connectors in whilst pulling out on the fuel lines, and keep the filter up this way so that the fuel doesn't go everywhere. We're just going to pull it out over here. Obviously if a little bit does fall out, then it's not the end of the world, because we've got that bag over the air intake. We're just going to place it into our bucket. Empty as much of the fuel out as possible. Now there is a little plastic almost flathead you can turn to release the fuel from it, but I don't really trust it. I don't really trust plastic too much in this sort of setting, so it does take a bit of time, but just pour it out. So here I am struggling trying to use a normal oil filter removal tool on top, and it doesn't work. I also try using a low pressure fuel pump removal tool, and that doesn't work. So annoyingly, you are going to need the specialist tool. It comes in 2 parts. So this bit actually takes the ring off, and this bit is what clamps the bottom of the housing on. As you can see, there's 2 flat portions there. So we're just going to whack that in the vise. So you're going to put that slotted bit into there, and then put that bit on top and just line them little grooves up. Make sure it's secure, and then 1/2 inch just to loosen it off. Before you discard them, put them up next to each other to make sure they're the same size. Don't worry if the element looks slightly different, that's not going to affect the filtration on this. Give the filter a sharp tug. This should free it from the lid. Line your new filter up and then plug it back into the lid. Remove the rubber seal and replace it, and you're just going to lubricate this rubber seal with some old diesel. Ensure there's no kinks and it's completely flat all the way around. Place the lid back on. There is a securing groove and there's also 2 yellow lines on the side to make sure you line it back up correctly. Do not screw this on until they're lined up, but once they are lined up, you're just going to screw them on. It was very kind of Peugeot, because as you can see down there, it's written 30 newton meters, and that's how much you're going to tighten this bad boy up to. 2 electrical connectors have probably got bits of diesel in there now, so just use electrical contact cleaner to clean them 2 out. When we line it up to the mount, we're going to push it into the mount, and then we're going to push it down to lock it off. In connecting, you don't have to do anything to do with the grey tabs, you just have to push the lines back in. It makes it nice and simple and nice and easy. And the same with the electrical connectors, you don't have to do anything, just push them in and listen for the click. Double check, you've got 3 fuel lines in there, 2 electrical connectors, and it's on the mount. Like I said at the start of the video, we're going to change the air filter for a new one. However, if you use the old one, just make sure you wash and dry your hands before you do this. You don't want diesel residue over it. Put the lid back on and then ensure that you definitely don't miss the next step. So with some cars, they have a bulb to manually prime the fuel filter. This step is really, really important that you don't miss it, okay? Otherwise you are going to knack your car. So take that, put that in there, and just up to ignition, you should be able to hear the pump engaging a little bit, okay? So I'm going to do it again. Listen for the pump. And you're going to do it about 5 times. I'm now also going to check for leaks before I fire it up. Also, you should be able to hear like some sort of bubbly sound. Once that stops, you know it's been fully primed. Once you are content, then we're just going to move on to the next thing, which is the oil change. I personally use Wayne's engine flush. The instructions are on the tin, but however, you just pour it in, fire it up for 10 minutes, turn it off. This warms up the engine oil and it clears any sludgy deposits. Especially on an older diesel like this, is a fairly important step. Remove all the filler caps. This will just allow the oil to drain more freely. 21mm with your drain pot ready. I've left mine at work, so I've had to improvise with this. Just gonna go underneath, and it's pretty easy to identify. So there's your sump, and just underneath it in the middle there's your sump plug. You're gonna want to use 21mm. Now make sure that this fits under you first, which obviously it doesn't, so I'm gonna have to jack this up a little bit. So that's now underneath there, so we're just going to move it out of the way, undo that by the ratchet, then by hand. As we're getting close, we're just going to put this underneath it and we'll get it done. Yeah, it's just draining now, and we're just going to give that probably about 10 minutes just to drain all the way through. Everything you need is a bucket ready to go for the oil filter, which is literally just up there. Luckily, I own a few different tools for this. The tool I'm going to select today is this one, just because it's easy, but don't worry, I've got plastic film on there. You can also get ones which are like a socket, which I've also got, so if that fails, I'll use that one, or the chain ones. But yeah, so we'll try and undo it with that, and if not, we'll have to crush out the other ones. Sweet, that's just now draining into the bucket. Same time that's draining, so 2 birds, 1 stone. This has got a rubber seal around it, so that's going to need to be lubricated with some old engine oil. Also going to need to remove this. Now, depending on where the filter is, this has got a flap valve in, as you can see them little rings around the outside. That means that I can turn it upside down and it won't leak too much oil. So you can pre-fill them if you want. It's up to you. I tend not to bother unless it's one going like that, because like I said, the flap valve should work, but 9 times out of 10 it sort of still leaks oil everywhere. We're now going to clean the surface there of all oil, then we're going to hand tighten the new filter on. So once you put it on, and once you feel it's sort of the rubber has touched the surface of the filter manifold there itself, it's then a further 1/3 turn, which obviously is subjective to different people. You can write the date on it, just to give you a gentle reminder when it was last done, but also make sure you do clean around it now, so you can check for leaks in a minute. As you can see, that's just dripping out nice and steadily now. So this is an optional step, it's up to you. I'm just going to put about 100 ml of fresh oil through just to take any of the last little bits of sludge out. Like I said, optional step, you don't have to do that. Okay, and that should start running clear in a minute. Clean the drain plug up and replace the copper washer. Clean around the drain plug. This will just help with identifying leaks later on, and then torque tighten it up to 30 Newton meters of torque. Do not over tighten. We're now going to put 5 litres of engine oil in. I know it takes 6.2, but you don't want to overfill it. So bang 5 litres in, and then we're going to check the dipstick. If it is reading a bit low, that's fine. We're just going to then top it up. Now you're going to check for leaks again before the engine starts running. One last courtesy check on the dipstick and top up as necessary. And then before we fire this bad boy up, we're going to do up on both the filler points and push the dipstick in. So we're now going to check for leaks. Obviously any cap we've undone, so this one, around the dipstick, and then underneath we're going to be checking at the drain plug again, which is nice and dry, and the filter as well. We're now going to leave that running for about 5 minutes, and then we're going to turn it off and recheck the level of the oil, because you would have lost a little bit going into the filter. These take around 6.2 litres of oil, 530, fully synthetic I believe, so yeah. So we're now going to go over some of the other major servicing items you may need to do, but always refer to your owner's handbook on what exactly needs to do. So if you did need to do a cabin filter on this, because it's the AC variant, it's just under there. On the newer models, it's just in the middle centre console on the inside of the vehicle. So we need to test the antifreeze to make sure that's in the right thing. You need to get a sight glass to test that. Also, with your brake fluid, you can test that. If it is overdue a flush, then you can do it yourself, but it's actually probably a bit more economical just to do it at the garage, just because they've got the equipment to bleed this really fast. Next, we're going to check the condition of your power steering fluid and make sure all of this stuff is between the min and the max. Top tip, if they are a bit grubby, give them a wipe down and then shine a little torch on the other side of it. Next, we're going to check the condition of the auxiliary belt. In this case, it's a really good nick. That's because it's been done recently. It was done with the cam belt. That's another thing you can check. You can take off the top timing cover and check the condition of that. Make sure there's no rips, tears or fraying at the edges. Always make sure that you replace this when it's time to do so, or mileage, okay? But whatever one comes first, i.e. 7 years, 100,000 miles potentially, yeah, whichever one of them two come first. Give these a little clean, and also your door hinges in there a clean, and then spray them up with the relevant grease. On these, to see inside there, to see how much brake pad you got left, you may have to rotate the wheel slightly to be able to see in there, and you'll need a torch, but it's another good check to do. But if unsure, just remove the wheel and check all 4 corners for brake pad. So that concludes the full service on this vehicle. If you've got any questions, pop them in the comments, and then also check the comments for a playlist for all things maintenance on this vehicle. I will be doing quite a lot on it, because it's the in-laws vehicle and it's getting to the age now where it's going to need some sort of tender loving care. There's also going to be some affiliate links in there, so if you do buy through them, I'll get a small commission, but it costs you no extra, and you'll be massively supporting the channel. But yeah, thanks very much for watching, and if you've got any other servicing tips, please put them in the comments to help other people out.